action. All right, so these girls have finished covering their tetrahedrons with paper, all right? And so now what we need to do, we need to put it together, okay? So you guys said you want the white on top? Yeah? What about the order with colors?
Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter? 2 blues in the black, purple, white? Sound good? Okay. So that's the first thing you want to think about if the colors really matter a lot to you, is what the order is. Ultimately, we know our kite's going to look something like this, right? And that annoying string that we've been dealing with, that's going to come into play now, okay? So I'm going to start with my bottom layer. This is the way, do you want to get it from the top here, Emma? This is the way we want our bottom to look, okay? So notice a couple things. We have all the paper going in the same direction, right? Why do you think that is?
So the wind.
Yeah, so the wind will, right? If we accidentally did one this way, that's not gonna, yeah, it's not gonna fly. Pun intended. Get it? So, what I'm gonna do, I'm going to connect these 2 back ones first, okay? So, here, I have excess string, right? So I'm just gonna find a way to connect this and run it through over here, right? So that I'm connecting these 2. They were lost and lonely, and now they have found each other, and we are connecting them with many, many knots. All right? So that's our back ones connected in the middle. All right? The next thing we need to do is connect this piece, this corner to this corner, and this corner to this corner. Cool? All right, so this one works out nice for us because look at all this extra string, right? So what I am going to do here, and what you guys would do, is kind of find just a way to connect it nice and strong. So I'm taking this string, and I'm just kind of tucking it under here. There's really no exact way to do this, all right? But I am just connecting. So far, any questions? Making sense? Okay. So now, when we get to this corner, check it out. There's no excess string here, right? So rather than going up front and grabbing more string, now that we've tied these ones and we don't need them again, I'm gonna cut them, right? I'm gonna grab scissors. And this one looks awesome. It's super duper long. So you want to use like probably the longest extra one you have. But watch when I cut it. I'm not going to cut it really, really close because then it might untie, right? So I'm going to cut it maybe like a little bit down the line. So I have my piece of string and I'm going to wrap it around this back corner, right? And then I'm going to just find a way to kind of come up and tuck through. My eyes are bad, so hopefully this is easier for you. But so now I've got them kind of tucked through, and I'm going to tie this string very nice and tight because it's not originally connected to either of them. So you got to be like super, double, triple, quadruple, bazilple, not them. That's totally a thing. Okay, so far, good. And then if you want, if it's been driving you crazy, you can cut your lower strings, right? Because we know we're done with the lower part. So I'm going to cut that string off. I'm going to come through and just cut. But remember, I'm cutting it like a ½ an inch down so it doesn't untie on us. All right, so we're kind of giving it a little haircut just to make it look better. And now we're going to need these strings for our next move. Cool, so far so good? So the last thing you guys are going to do is we need to attach this to the top, right? So some of these have strings, right? So I always start with the ones that have strings. So like I'm gonna go here. Why am I attaching the white with the tissue going that way? The wind, right? So just keeping it all going the same, right? And it's okay if it's moving around on you while you're tying it. But the key thing is you want to tie this really tight. Okay, so this is the part where if it's been loose for different things, this is where you really want to be super tight. Do I say super a lot?
Yeah.
Super duper. Okay, so now I'm going to come up front and tie the front one. The order doesn't matter as far as when you're tying, but you definitely have to do the bottom. Can you see why you have to do the bottom 3? first, right? 2, there's my nice triple knot. Maybe you're into quadruple knots. I support whatever you're into. So now the last one, we actually didn't even end up needing extra string, right? Because here on the bottom there's a string. So when there's string that's already attached from the top, we just kind of put it down through. I think this part's kind of fun. Maybe I spoke too soon. Put it down through, all right, and then come up. And like, the key thing is that we tie it so that it stays. So I'm just like grabbing this string, right? And I'm just like, whoop, tying. What kind of knot?
A triple.
A triple or a quadruple.
Double.
All right, so now, ta-da, we've got it all tied together. So it's up to you at this point if you like are like, oh, that's super cool, I'm gonna keep it as a hair thing. Or you're like, you know what, I want this to be cleaned up a little bit and cut it. Cool? Any questions?
Nope.
All right, that is phase 4.